Our first panel today, we will hear testimony from the Honorable Edward Avalos, Undersecretary for Marketing and Regulatory Programs for the USDA. And Mr. Secretary, I want to certainly let you know that we do appreciate your having reached out to our office, and I know the other members as well. Mr. Avalos provides leadership and oversight for the Animal and Plant Health Inspection Services, which addresses animal and plant pests and diseases. The Agricultural Marketing Service, which provides standardization, testing, and marketing of commodities and specialty crops and grain inspection. Packers and Stockyard Administration, which promotes marketing of livestock, cereals, and meats, as well as fair trade practices. Mr. Avalos grew up in a family farm in Melissa Valley of southern New Mexico. And Mr. Avalos is joined by Mr. Alan Christian, Deputy Administrator at Grain Inspection, Packers and Stockyards Administration, GIPSA. And I'd like to thank both of you gentlemen for taking the time to be here today. Mr. Avalos, if you would begin with your testimony. Thank you.
Chairman Tipton, Ranking Member Kritz, members of the subcommittee, thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today to discuss the proposed rule issued by the Grain Inspection, Packers and Stockyards Administration, better known as GIPSA, on June 22, 2010. While I'm looking forward to getting into the important small business perspectives from members of this committee, I'm limited by the Administrative Procedures Act and USDA's ex parte guidelines of what I can discuss at this stage of the rulemaking. Before I talk about the proposed rule, let me provide some context. It's very appropriate for the Small Business Committee to decide to focus on this hearing a small business in the livestock and poultry industries. The vast majority of farmers in general, specifically livestock and poultry producers, are small businesses. There are currently 70,000 hog producers in this country, almost 1 million cattle ranchers in the country, and nearly 20,000 poultry growers. The majority of these individuals are family-owned small businesses. I think the point that farmers, ranchers, livestock producers, poultry growers, and our small businesses is important to note. As you all know, small businesses are the lifeblood of our economy and where jobs are created and where new ideas are developed. The Secretary and I have long recognized the importance of farmers, ranchers, and producers to rural communities. Our livestock and poultry producers benefit rural communities because they also support other small local businesses, such as the local hardware store, the feed store, local restaurants, the local tractor farm implement dealers. A primary mission of GIPSA, and in particular Packers Stockyards program, is to make sure that the marketplace is fair and transparent, ensuring small businesses get a fair shake. Decades before the Small Business Administration was formed, and the importance of small business was really fully recognized, the predecessor of GIPSA was created by Congress through the Packers and Stockyards Act in 1921. This was largely done to protect small businesses, that is, livestock producers and ranchers, against abuses of market power by large meat packers. Packers Stockyards Act, which is the basis for GIPSA's enforcement authority in the livestock and poultry industry, is 90 years old this year. These industries have changed dramatically over time. For example, stockyards are virtually non-existent today. This longevity means the regulations and the Act itself need to be updated periodically. Congress realized this in the 2008 Farm Bill by making some changes in the Act and directing USDA to propose specific regulations. Combined with a handful of additional areas that USDA felt deserved closer attention and needed input from stakeholders, this was the genesis of the rulemaking that is the subject of this hearing today. The purpose of the proposed rule was to make the markets more fair and transparent, which was intended to benefit livestock producers and poultry growers, the vast majority of which are family-owned businesses. This is in no way to minimize concerns about potential unintended consequences of the proposed rule, either generally or related to small businesses. For example, I know there are various concerns that were raised about the rule hindering value-added and other market activities. I want to make clear to you, Mr. Chairman, and the committee, that our intent and intent of the Secretary and myself, that we are very strong supporters of these marketing arrangements. These arrangements that often provide premiums to farmers and ranchers, at the same time meet consumer demand. We received over 61,000 comments. These comments were comprehensive, thoughtful, and educational. We view these comments as tools that will guide us on our path to make the appropriate needed reforms. It is important to us to have a workable and common sense rule. These comments will assist the department to determine if all factors have been properly considered. The comments will also aid us to develop a more rigorous cost-benefit analysis, such as and other related analysis, such as a small business analysis. While it would not be appropriate to go into detail on specific modifications, I can assure you that the department will take careful account of the public comments. We ask that everyone have patience as we carefully work through the comments, and we ask that we not prejudge the outcome. Thank you again for the opportunity to appear before you today to talk about this proposed rule and share our support for small businesses in rural America. I welcome your questions and your comments.